Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our first session for the year. And this evening, apologies from Clint and Meg, in a way, walking in Tasmania. Loretta's somewhere on the South Pole, keeping cool, hopefully keeping warm.
Yeah.
And other people still on holiday break with different things happening. And maybe a few people connecting online as well. And also welcome to Nadine here for the first time. So let's settle in with our meditation. Establishing our comfortable sitting position. Aligning our body with some degree of symmetry, balance, poise, helping to enable an inner mindful presence. Our eyes gently closed, helping to bring awareness within. And having our initial deep, relaxing, letting go breath. Using the outgoing breath to carry away any stress tension that might have been building in our body over the happening of this day, the happening of the week so far. Breathing out, relaxing, releasing, letting go. And particularly letting go of issues, worries, concerns. Moving the mind away from roles and responsibilities. And even giving ourselves permission to not be caught up in thoughts about what has been, thoughts about what might be, but rather tuning into an awareness of the present moment. Here, now, knowing. Enabling a calm, objective, receptive, attentive knowing, simply by aligning awareness to the sensation of our breath, feeling each breath in each present moment. But before focusing on the breath, just feeling into our body, bringing awareness into the body, this platform for experience, the body, feeling, sensing our body sitting, feeling grounded, settled, centered, present. Feeling some contact sensations, maybe feeling our feet connecting with the floor. Feeling our body connecting with the chair, cushion, or meditation stool. Feeling the placement of our hands and fingers resting in our lap. Bringing awareness up to our shoulders, relaxing the shoulders without disturbing the uprightness of our back. Relaxing the chest area so we can breathe freely. Relaxing the abdomen, belly area so the diaphragm can extend fully. And feeling that soothing motion, the gentle rising up with the in-breath, relaxing down with the out-breath. Letting our body find its own natural rhythm and process of breathing. Feeling that rising, relaxing, rising, relaxing. Noticing also our face, maybe even feeling the air connecting with our face. perceiving light coming in through the closed eyelids, and even looking into that lightness, brightness, blankness through the closed eyelids. A forward focused gaze into the space in front through the closed eyelids. And not being distracted or disturbed by background sounds that we might hear. Same with the internal mental sight or sounds of thoughts, not getting caught into those. But rather choosing to bring our attention to our breath at the nose nostril area, finding that place of main sensation, directing attention, sustaining attention, to feel each individual life-giving breath. Receiving the in-breath, and then relinquishing that into the space around us. Feeling each breath, looking into the lightness, brightness through the closed eyelids, using a mental meditative word or two in the mind with each breath if it's helpful. Developing mental collectedness, composure, concentration, and inner calm ease. Please help yourself to some tea biscuits and we can have some reflections and discussion. One of my fascinations, but also challenges in life has been the English language. I continue to be fascinated by the way in which words are put together, the background of words, sometimes a double meaning of words in English, and continue to be challenged with spelling. Remember as a child at primary school, and each week there'd be a spelling test, and we'd get given on a Monday, it's like 10 new words, which you have to learn how to spell, and on a Friday there'd be the spelling test. And so it was a mark out of 10 for getting them right. Often got a negative number, -2, -3, because I got them all, we get them all wrong. In other words, so the teacher would read out a sentence and with these words in it, and I'd even get the words in the sentence wrong as well. Remember standing up at that, one of the most embarrassing moments in my life was standing up in the class, and because I got a minus number, 10 plus extra words wrong, and the teacher going, "So how do you spell blood?" So I'd spelt it as it sounds, B-L-U-D. Very much into spelling things phonetically, which is okay in Pali, the Pali language, or German. Things are spelt and how they sound, but not in English. Blood, so it must be B-L-U-D, wrong. B-L-U-D-E, wrong. B-L-E-O-D, wrong. I was really surprised to learn it was spelled B-L-O-O-D. I couldn't understand how an O, like a cook or a book, or look, was the O was a blood, but again, that's part of the fascination because English language has come from other languages, so Old English, also from Latin, also from French, and probably the word blood was pronounced blood. For any strong English accent, blood. So when I say bloody hell, B-L-O-O-D, blood. But certainly understanding how words are put together can also help us to understand sort of an appreciation and wisdom perspective on things as well. So I was thinking about the word take. So to take, to acquire, to move away, but also the word take can be used as a perspective. What's your take on this? As in, what's your idea about this? What's your take on the situation? How do you perceive the situation? And even to the point where we can go, the take-home message is based upon also how you actually perceived or looked at the particular situation. How you perceive then affects how you then receive. So the perspective then affects the recept, and this very much feeds into our whole practice, particularly in Buddhism, where the Buddhist path of practice begins with right view, how we see things, how we perceive things, sammaditthi, getting the right take on things, the right perspective. In a way that the result of the Buddhist path of practice is really how we begin by looking at things. So much of the Buddhist teachings is developing a wise approach, a wise look, a wise perspective on the nature of reality, which helps us to then perceive and receive our experience in the right way, reducing clinging, craving, wanting, and so forth, reducing ignorance, misunderstanding, and particularly in the context of the Eightfold Path, which is on the chart here, beginning with right view. And so I think it's really also important to set things up so that particularly whether we're starting a meditation, how am I viewing my meditation, my perception of the meditation, or whether it's often on a meditation day, we sort of set up the right view, the focus, the way of perceiving and then receiving our experience for the day. But especially this year, setting up the right view, the right take on how we are going to engage the year, perceive the year, and therefore then experience the year. Because again, how we perceive will affect how we receive the year. How the year ends will be based upon how we approached it, our particular view, perspective. Even this idea of yes, perception, reception, perspect, recept, but also even concept. The perspective is also based upon the conception, how we conceive or think. Even the word conceive, conceiving, thinking, also conceiving, giving birth to, creating. So we can create, we can even design the particular approach that we're going to have to the year. And that's where part of mindfulness practice is designing how we'd like to approach this year, because a year is a significant amount of time and energy in our life. As I mentioned at the end of the year with our last meditation group, the sense of reflecting upon the year that's been, learning from what we've experienced. Given that we've put a lot of energy into running these bodies for a year, the cost of running these bodies for a year is huge. Food and fluids and clothing and energy and petrol, diesel to drive them here and there, and it's a cost. So again, to look at 365 days as a block of time, a year in our life, and therefore to engage the possibility of having a mindful, conscious, meaningful, worthwhile year, And so we design the particular approach or attitude or perspective. And that will then affect how we then receive experience. Sure, there'll be experiences that are very much the same as what we had last year, but even to go, well, did that work for me to perceive that experience in that particular way? And if not, we can maybe change the attitude, and even having an overarching attitude towards the year, like a mindset or even what in psychology's terms a schema, mindset, a mind approach, a sort of a schema of how we approach things. Often they're spoken about in negative terms, a negative schema, negative mindset, which then results in certain experiences. But you can set up a healthy, wise schema for approaching the year. A bit like story of this old man that was retired and lived in the countryside, probably somewhere in Europe, and would spend his days just outside the village by the village well, just watching people come and go. People would come down to the well, but also travelers passing through that would stop at the well to get some water. And on one occasion, this old chap was sitting there and just watching people come and go, and a traveler came through and said, "Old man, you're probably from the village up ahead. Can I ask you a question?" The old man said, "Sure." He said, "I'm a traveler. I'm passing through. What sort of people live in the village up ahead?" And the old man said, "Well, let me ask you a question. How did you find the people in the village down below?" And the guy said, "Oh, great. I love people. Love people. That's why I like to sort of move around, travel, meet people. Wonderful." The old man said, "Well, you'll find them much the same up ahead." Then another guy came along, a traveler. He said, "Old man, you're probably from the village up ahead there. A traveler passing through. What are the people like?" The old man said, "Well, let me ask you, how did you find the people down below? In the village down in the valley?" And he said, "Oh, didn't like them. I don't like people. Can't trust people, don't like people, didn't like them." The old man said, "You find them much the same up there." So it's the mindset or attitude that we have that then affects our experience. So if we think, well, how would I like to experience this year, 2026? What sort of approach would I need to have that I can actually consciously design as a mindset to engage the year? So rather than seeing that the years are difficult, life is troublesome, life is a hassle, another year of torment, which will be another year of torment, but more a healthy approach, a year of learning, a year of inspiration, a year of peace and tranquility, a year of possibilities. So whatever we might decide, that can then become the particular approach, or like a filter that helps us to filter out negative bias and see things in a healthy, positive way. So it's even like the take of a camera. I'm going to take another shot, or take two. The camera sort of will generally, it'll either have no lens, objective perspective, or has a filter on the lens, but has a lens, but no filter, but it has a filter that helps us sort of block out light that's going to be not helpful, which then affects how we then sort of see things, the actual photograph that's taken. So in that way, we can consciously go, okay, well, based upon my learning, my experience from last year, what would be a helpful approach to have for this year? Even finding one or two words that might describe how we want to view this year. And then things will be aligned to that. Will sort of that becomes then the default, as opposed to the default being some type of stress reaction. But a healthy new designed default. And I say to people, life by design, not by default. Because the default can be just what you had before, or even something negative conditioned. But let's create a a healthy, designed, new approach that becomes your default for your experience. And in this sense, we are conscious creatures. The Buddha said that we are unfinished creatures. Human beings are the unfinished creature. There's more learning and growth that can happen for us. Sure, our adult bodies, they're sort of maybe not getting any taller. They might get wider as we get older. But psychologically, there's that psycho-spiritually ongoing growing and learning, which also makes life really interesting and exciting. So that every year we can learn more and grow more, a bit like someone that's going to school or university. They build on the learning from the previous year. And spiritual practice can very much be that as well. So even having a perspective that is somewhat spiritual, so that we can then develop our spiritual domain of our being as we continue to go through and flow through life, and ideally that life becomes more easeful, more peaceful, more pleasant, because we have this wise or wisdom approach. Certainly, the right view aspect in the context of the Buddha's teaching is to have at a foundation a clear, objective perspective on the nature of things. So we're not perceiving things. We're not sort of seeing the real as unreal and seeing the unreal as real. So seeing what is right and true, but also to appreciate the reality of things, particularly that the underlying fabric of impermanence, which creates then uncertainty, which is experienced as a sense of stress, and also the non-personal aspect of things as well. But why there is this, whilst there is this sense of self, it's a fluxing phenomena that things don't have to be personalized, taken personally as me. Whether it's a thought, whether it's a mental state, feeling state, body state, it doesn't have to be made into me or mine or I. And the more mindful that we are, we have that choice, that possibility of perceiving in that way, receiving experience from that perspective, and engaging wisely, so that we have more of a development of wisdom as opposed to development of confusion and stress in life. Most of our stress is because we don't perceive things as impermanent, uncertain, or unsatisfactory, and not pertaining to the self. We see things as otherwise, the opposite of that, and that goes on to cause stress and suffering. And in reality, it's just those three ways of looking or viewing. That's the way to enlightenment. Remember Rajan Sameda, my teacher, when I was in England, he would say, so what does a fully enlightened person know? What do they know? What do they realize? How do they see things? Well, they see things as everything's impermanent, uncertain, and not self. That's it. So we might, I can hear that, we can maybe understand it, but it's taking it to heart and perceiving everything like that. It's like to the point where it's totally realized as fundamental truth. It's the ultimate truth for us that yes, everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, or uncertain, and not pertaining to any stable, static, enduring identity or self. That's the practice. Of course, the first element of the Eightfold Path, Samadhi right view, does also include appreciation of the Four Noble Truths. And that's something which we can look into to later, but those Four Noble Truths are also really about the truth of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and no permanent self, which then leads to understanding, wisdom, freedom, which is enabled through the Eightfold Path. So see about thinking about designing a particular take, approach, perspective for this year, which could be a word. I'm going to perceive and approach this year, this experience of the year, my experience of the year as this. A word could be opportunity or learning, or patience, or gratitude, or joy, or contentment. You could even have a few words if you want to. And run an experiment. See how it goes. You could even go, okay, for the next few months, I'm going to perceive from this particular psycho-spiritual approach and see how that affects my mental state and mood, even my relationships with other people, even my sort of work output as well. That might even be enhanced. Run an experiment. So see what you can do. So any thoughts for yourself? Have you already sort of come up with a way of approaching the year, some sort of aspiration or intention or perspective or attitude? Anyone come up with something already? Brendan?
Yeah, I guess not necessarily specific to this year, but just an attitude of reality just being a series of moments, not really getting too hung up on goals related to time, as in it's okay to still have goals and to be pursuing those things, but not to be fixated or desiring this goal must be achieved by this time. It will happen when it happens. And between now and then is just a series of moments happening and things arising and ceasing. And so trying to be more aware of the moments as they're happening versus projecting forward to what I want that end goal to be, and when do I want that to happen. But okay, well, it'll happen, but between now and then it's just there are moments where
so fulfilling the moment,
just being in the moment of even though I'm pursuing this goal or multiple goals, whatever's happening in this moment is more important.
Yeah, well, that's where life's happening from. Present. Yeah. Well, goals are sort of arbitrary future, but they're only fulfilled by the moment to moment attentiveness to what's happening in a particular direction.
So I guess that's why the attitude, as you say, is more important than those goals.
Yeah.
The attitude will help drive the outcome.
Well, it's a bit like a pilgrimage through the year, sort of traversing time and space and energy. And it's not about the destination. It's not about the meaning and worth of the year is to get to the end of it. It's more like, well, no, it's about the experience of the year, which is moment to moment present mindedness.
Reminded of the Buddha telling the monks, what the right attitude was towards death, I think, where some monks were saying that while we'll be present throughout the day, and then if I die tonight, I can't remember the exact sequence, but the monks that were practicing correctly were, I guess, focused on the fact that they may die any moment. That was the right way to be, I guess, fully present.
Every moment. Well, even like that quality of mindfulness that Ajahn Chah would talk about, be so mindful that at night before you fall asleep, whether you fall asleep on the in-breath or the out-breath. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll be so mindful that whether you're waking up on the in-breath or the out-breath. That's mindfulness.
Something to aspire to.
Any other thoughts, questions, or comments?
I did have a couple of words or whatever that while you spoke, so I'll share them. It was possibility, or is possible, and worthiness. So
and
worthiness,
worldliness.
No, worthy.
Oh, worthiness. Yeah. Well, they're good. Yeah.
I'll try those.
Mm. And even when you have a couple of words, reminding the mind to those words, because again, sometimes the default is frustration or irritation or impatience. So if we remind, possibilities or worthiness, and that helps to decondition the old default approach and helps to condition and create a new way of looking and perceiving and experiencing.
I think it's good to be reminded of the impermanence and the uncertainty and no self, because you can delude yourself with right view.
Mm, mm.
You know, it's very easy. You can put all the Brahma Viharas in and say, yes, I'm kind and compassionate, but you can still delude yourself.
Sure.
Have those three qualities.
Mm. Well, it comes back to, the basic reality is, impermanence, change, flux, flow. And because of that, then that creates uncertainty, because things change, causes and conditions. Which includes then this self. The self is not anything stable. It's continually fluxing and changing. Though the mind spends a lot of time trying to hold on to keeping it the same. Justin?
I guess the two words or phrases that come from me, that we sometimes pull cards at the end of the year, and one of those was around clarity, clear understanding, and so just trying to sort of be in the moment enough to sort of see things quite clearly, what is in the moment, and then together with that was maintaining a sense of good energy to foster that clear understanding, because when that energy drops, then the clarity kind of muddies.
Yeah.
So I guess for me this year, just trying to balance those two things that kind of help each other.
So the good energy, as in Suvirya.
As in Suvirya.
Yeah. Good energy. Yeah.
Maintaining a kind of upright, strong, attentive energy in the face of, overwhelm in the world and busyness and so I guess with that too, there's a simplicity to try and achieve those things, or to keep things a bit simple, not to get too caught up in the many things.
And if you're maintaining that good energy, but then manifests mentally and heartfully and physically, that can then help to both attract also other good energy and sort of move out and even affect other things in a positive way as well. So it's like the energy, even though energy is not really positive or negative, it's just energy, but it can have a positive or negative effect, and so it's about maintaining the vibrancy, or let's say the frequency. So the frequency of the energy is such that it's healthy and wholesome and worthwhile, as opposed to an unhealthy frequency of energy that's distressing, that's unhealthy, that's distressing. Well, let's hope that this year 2026 is a positive, good year for us all. Like, no year is perfect, and certainly 2025 had its issues. Certainly ended with some distress with what went on in Sydney, and which certainly has affected everybody in some sort of a way around the world. But as in, there's things that are going on in last year and continue around the world that can affect us. But it's about remaining as positive and as mindful and as wise as we can to keep that positive vibe, good energy happening, not getting caught up in despair and the drama of things and overwhelm, keeping that sort of benevolence, that good energy, good vibe happening. And hence the importance of meditation. Practicing meditation, so that we're even immune to the negativity that may be out there. So do engage a healthy, wise approach to the year. We can check in now and then and see how that's working. And obviously, in a year's time, or just before a year's time, we can check in at the end of this year, December. So, how has the year been? Has your design of the mindset, mind state, mind mode been helpful? What's been the result of that? Thanks for coming out tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening. See you next time. Thank you.